Okay, thank you for taking time to join this call. I welcome you again. Today, most likely, we will wrap up this first chapter. I think it has been going on for around close to 2 months. So we will try to wrap up today. And probably the next session onwards, we'll try to change the timing. I understand, right? It is holiday time or vacation time for the kids, and kids may be going, outing or maybe busy outside. So we will change. I'm trying to see if I can change it to Thursday evening, 8 to 8:45, so that I think most of us may be free at that time. Okay. So there are 6 topics in this chapter. So we discussed Dhritarashtra's inquiry to Sanjaya and Duryodhana's fear and his diplomacy in describing the armies and signs of victory for the Pandavas. And then Arjuna started observing the armies. And then, suddenly he was overwhelmed by compassion and he started listing out the reason not to fight. His first reason was compassion for his relatives due to the bodily attachments. And the second reason is he sees no enjoyment in victory. What is the point of gaining a kingdom and money and everything if there are no relatives to share with? So that is his another point. And the third reason last week we saw was fear of sinful reaction. Killing his own kith and kin. He fears of sinful reactions. And the fourth reason we will see this week today about what are the harmful effects of destroying the family. Arjuna lists down one by one because Arjuna is not only a kshatriya, he also like a Vedantist. He has studied scriptures, so he lists down all the reasons for not fighting and killing the relatives. Let me. So last week we saw, right? No, there'll be only papam or sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. So aggressors, right? Atatayinaha. As per the scriptures, these 6 aggressors can be killed without incurring any sin, but he does not want to kill them, though they have, did abominable action against the Pandavas. He does not want to kill them out of compassion. These are the 6 kind of aggressors that we saw last week. And the other point we discussed last week was, you were saying, though these Kauravas, they are very greedy and um, they don't find any fault in killing the kith and kin. Why should we do it? We know the Shastras, we know it is a crime, it is sinful in destroying a family. So why should we engage in sinful reactions? Here, all these points are listed down by Arjuna. Krishna will counter them. Krishna will answer them in the subsequent chapter, mostly in the second chapter. Second chapter is called as the Sankhya Yoga, or also called as summary version of the Bhagavad Gita. Right, Krishna has given the whole of Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, but he has explained elaborately in the subsequent chapters. Krishna answers all of them in the second chapter. So these are the things we saw last week. Third reason, fear of sinful reactions. If we slay such aggressors, sin will overcome us. We may have to undergo the hellish life, in the next life. That is his point. And he also says, these greedy men do not see any fault in killing the kith and kin, but we see. That's his point. Now, these are the new shlokas that we'll start from today. 39 to 43, where Arjuna is explaining what is the harmful effect of destroying the family. Does anyone wants to repeat after me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Mataji. Kulakshaye pranashyanti
Kulakshaye pranashyanti
kuladharma sanatanaha
kuladharma sanatanaha
dharme nashte kulam kritsnam
धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम्
अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण
प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः
प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः
स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय
स्त्रीषु दृष्ट्वा तु वार्ष्णेय
जायते वर्णसङ्करः.
जायते वर्णसङ्करः.
Okay. Do you want to read the translation, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sure. Thank you.
With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So here, Arjuna, based on the Shastras, is trying to submit his points to Krishna. He says, with the destruction of the dynasty, if a lot of elders and men are killed in the war, there won't be elders to guide the next generation on the family traditions, and there'll be a irreligion. So the points that here it is being said are related to Varna Sharma. Varna is the social order, Ashrama is the spiritual order. So Varna, we have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and spiritual order is Ashrama. Brahmacharyam first up until like 25, and after that, Grahasthasrama, and after that, Vanaprastha, and then Sannyasa ashrama. These are the ashramas. Ashramas, in our tradition, Sanatana Dharma, it refers to a venue or place or an order to help us connect to the Lord. That's why we call like Grahasthasrama. If somebody is just focusing on just sense gratification, just earning money, not spending time to um, to progress in the spirituality, to progress in the devotional service, to progress in the Krishna consciousness, right? It is like can be compared to the animals. That's what our Shastra says. Both the animals and the human beings, they have eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Both of them do the same four things, but the only thing that differentiates us from the animals is that we have a consciousness that can be used to elevate ourselves. That's why the acharyas always explain, Krishna consciousness is very important. So here, Varnashrama Dharma is mentioned. Somebody will have, in different Varnashramas, they have some family traditions. For example, in case of warriors or Kshatriyas, they will do admin activities, but at the same time, they will also build the temple. It's a Kula Dharma. The Brahmanas, they will preach, they will learn and preach Patana Patana Yajna Yagna. And Vaishyas, they do business and they also build, Dharma Chatram and everything. They do their Varnashma Dharma as well as their Kula Dharma. And Shudras are more like laborers. They will have their own dharmas. They will have own family traditions, samskaras, each and every, right, Varnashrama, they will have their, family traditions, samskaras that they will follow. But if one layer, if one generation is vanquished, right, there is no one to guide the next generation in those family traditions. And Arjuna here says, if there is no guidance, these people will become irreligious. um, uh, these family traditions, these dharmas, are help to purify our senses and improve our consciousness, so that we can elevate in the spiritual aspect. So that's why all we do, right? All the festivals and all the samskaras, all the things that we do in our life as per Sanatana Dharma, Hindu Dharma, right? They are all to help us purify our senses, so that purify our mind and purify our consciousness so that we can grow spiritually. But if sometimes we see, right, our parents, as long as they are here, they will guide us. But if they are not here, we don't have much guidance. Sometimes we do not know what to do. And then generation after generation, that the tradition is lost. Uh, and that's what Arjuna's point here. And the other point here is that um, um, so when the irreligion is prominent, so when nobody's following the dharma, nobody's following their kula dharma or family traditions, right? The woman and the family can become polluted. It is said in our shastras that the women and the children can be easily misled in a society, so they need protection. So they need the protection either from their father or from their brothers or from their husbands. They need a protection. They need protection before marriage. They need protection from their father or from their elder brother. Otherwise, there is a high chance, if nobody elders are there, they could be misguided. And from the degradation of the women, unwanted children or unwanted progeny can come. That is what is called as varna sankaraha, that is unwanted children, because it is said, um, a chaste woman can deliver, a good children. From the chaste women comes a good population. But if you don't have a good population, it will impact this peace of the society, peace, prosperity, and everything. It will lead to unnecessary war and unrest in the world. Now, that is what is happening nowadays, right? A lot of wars and everything, unrest. The world is itself unrest now. The other point here it is to be mentioned is that um, so when the women become polluted, it is called as Papa Yoni, and the children born out of those women are less intelligent. Then, of course, if they are less intelligent, they will not follow any traditions or they will not follow anything. Again, the family will be degraded. Here, Prabhupada explains, right? It is a chaste woman is Satita Dharma. Satita Dharma means being very chaste. He explains, a couple of examples like Nala and Damayanti. Nala is a king, and Damayanti is also a daughter of the king. At one point in time, Nala, they've become poverty stricken, and they will not have any clothes. They will have only one cloth that they will share. But even then, Damayanti will not leave him. She won't divorce him, but she will stick to her husband. So that is the chastity of women. And there is also one more story regarding this chastity. Chastity. Now here, Arjuna is trying to present a point like, the chastity of women will be degraded if there are no elders, if there are no men in the family. And Prabhupada and the Acharyas explain how important the chastity is to bring out a good population so that the world will have peace and prosperity. Now, one story is about Nalai Damayanti, and the other story that I want to say is that, during the Ramanujacharya's time, Ramanujacharya visited a place, a small grama, a small village, and he went to one of his disciple. Uh, there are two disciples in that village. One was a very wealthy person, and the other one was a poor person, disciple. So he sent two his disciples who accompanied Ramanujacharya, go to both the houses and check, and then tell them that I am here. If they are ready to accommodate us. So first, the two disciples went to the wealthy disciple's house. In that wealthy disciple, he said he was so happy about his Guru Maharaj and said, I'm very happy to receive the Guru Maharaj. I will do this and that, and I will host a big festival. But he did not even, ask those two disciples to sit down or take, water or anything. He did not give a respect to them. And and then the other disciples, they went and they found that they are very poor, but they have given him Very good response. So both the disciples came and informed Ramanujacharya, and Ramanujacharya said, "I'm not going to the wealthy disciple. He has disrespected you, but I will go to the poor, the other disciple." Um, so all Ramanujacharya went to the house of his poor disciple, but at the time the poor disciple was not there, but his wife was there. They were so poor, and Ramanujacharya noticed that uh, even though they knocked the door, nobody has opened. But Ramanuja identified that there is somebody inside. He thought it could be his disciple's wife. Yeah, I think he knows he's Lakshman, right? He's a Rama Anuja, brother of Rama. So he knows that, you know, his disciple's wife does not have a sari. They have only one cloth, which she has, washed and then dried it outside. So Ramanujacharya took his chadar, right? And then throw it inside the house. And then she wore it and then came back, and then she received them very well, and then she did all the formalities, and then they were so poor that they don't even have food. They have very little that they are managing. So there was a grocery shop near to our house, and that grocery shop person always trying to entice this girl, but she never yielded. But today, her Guru Maharaj came to her house. She does not know how to prepare food. So she went to the grocery shop, and the grocery person took it as an opportunity. He said, "You have to be my wife this night. Then only I will give you all these groceries." But she doesn't have any other way. But she said, "Okay." And then she took all the grocery items and then went to her home, and then she made a very good Rajaboga. And then Ramanujacharya and his disciples all ate very well. And when they finished it, her husband came and he was surprised, and then he offered his obeisances, and then he asked his wife, what happened, how did you get all this? And then she explained, I'm sorry, I yielded to this person. I don't have any other way to satisfy my Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj. I want to do, I want to make sure that our Guru Maharaj is happy. That's the only reason I did this. But this person, her husband, was so elevated soul. He said, what you did is right for a Guru Maharaj. And then what he did was, you go after everything is done. He said, can go and meet the grocery shop person. And Ramanujacharya was hearing all this conversation somehow. And then he said, he looked at her, and then he gave a prasadam and a tirtham to her. And then you give this to that person. And then she went to that person in the evening. And then he was so surprised to have her. And then she said, this is the prasadam and tirtham. As soon as he ate it, his consciousness changed totally, because, right, this is a prasadam. Prasadam is referred to as Prabhu Sakshat Iti Darshanam, is called as prasadam. The literal mercy of the Lord, literal Prabhu, the Lord, right? It's mercy. His mercy is prasadam. As soon as he ate this prasadam, his consciousness changed. And also you notice that how chastised she is. Our husband knows it, but he has sent it just to please their Guru Maharaj, So he was so much moved by her chastity, and also his consciousness changed, that he just fell down on her feet. You are like a Mahalakshmi. I'm sorry, I did my great sin. And then he came to the house and then offered obeisances to Ramanujacharya and left. Now, this is one of the example of how chastity helps. This is also a story mentioned by Prabhupada in his explanation. So the other thing I want to know here is Varshneya. Varshneya means a descendant of Vrishini. Krishna is a descendant of Vrishni dynasty, right? Sometimes Krishna will say Partha. Partha means son of Prithu. Prithu is none other than Kunti Maharani, just to make Arjuna to remember about his heritage. Um, sorry, about his heritage. He used to say Partha. Likewise, Arjuna is reminding Krishna about his heritage dynasty. You are from Vrishni dynasty. You know, will you allow your dynasty to be destroyed? Subtle, a subtle way of saying to Krishna, no, you won't allow your dynasty to be destroyed, but why do you are forcing me? So that's about this verse. So another point here is kulastriya hai. Kulastriya means family girl, family women, right? Family is talking about a family women, not any other society girls. Let me move on to the other shloka. Kavin, do you want to read this? Kavin Keshav?
शङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः
Next shloka as well.
दोषैरेतैः कुलज्ञानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माः शाश्वताः.
Can you read the translation also? Next page.
An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish for life for both the family tradition. The answers of such corrupt families fall down because the performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped by the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children. All kinds of community projects and welfare activities are devastated.
Okay, thank you, Keshav. So here, the another important point here is that, with the rise of unwanted population, a lot of family traditions will be stopped. There are no family obligations. There are family traditions, and there are also family obligations. For example, we have an obligation to our forefathers, right? We do shraddha, right? It's like we give the rice balls and water, shraddha, every year to the forefathers, so that sometimes it so happens the forefathers may suffer due to their sinful reactions. They may be in hell or they may be in a ghostly body. No, we don't know. But what the Shastra says is, right, if we offer them the pindam, right, if you offer them the Vishnu Prasadam, right, they get delivered from all those sinful reactions and, they attain salvation, right? But if nobody does this type of shraddam, they may go to hell, right? So that is the one reason the ancestors of such families fall down because of for performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. But our acharyas also explained. But if one, sorry, right? If one is a devotee, our forefathers and the next generations are also taken care. If one becomes a bhakta, right? So automatically, Krishna takes care of his or her forefathers as well as the next generations. There are around 21 generations are taken care when one is a devotee. So that is also an important point. I remember one of a senior devotee, a brahmachari, his name is Gauranga Das. He's a very famous one. He's from South. And so he took a brahmachari, ashrama. And then after a long time, he visited his hometown in South. And then he's explained, he was convincing his parents and the families and how important it is to become a devotee. And then I became a devotee so that your salvation is also assured and everything. At the end of the lecture, and all of his family members came, Bhaiya, please continue this as a bhakti, as it is, so that we can also get a salvation or mukti. So he was saying it jokingly. As I mentioned last week, like putra means pum nama naraka trayate iti putra. There is a naraka called pum. And then the forefathers are there in that naraka, trayate, deliver them. is called as a putra. Okay, so that is one of the reason he's saying there is no one to deliver the forefathers, right? But we have shastras, our acharyas explain, right? If somebody is not able to do that, but at least if does the devotional service to to Krishna or Vishnu, automatically all 21 generations get liberated. It's a very important. So by the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and gives rise to unwanted children. So all this, because of this unwanted children, all the community projects and family welfare activities are devastated, right? Like somebody, they have a kula dharma of building a temple or building a dharma kshetram, or they maybe have a family traditions, and they may have a varnashrama dharma, like for kshatriya, they have some warrior principles, like Brahmana teaching and then learning and teaching, yajna, everything. If there are any unwanted children out there, and all these family traditions will be spoiled, and the community projects will also be stopped. Here, Srila Prabhupada points out, the unwanted children example is like, hippies, right? At least now there are less hippies, but during Prabhupada's time, there were thousands and thousands of hippies who were very much frustrated, with the religious system, as well as, they want a freedom. They do not know what is right or wrong. And there are also population who are not very happy with the government during the time Prabhupada came to US. There was a Vietnam War. So, but Prabhupada, was got a first instruction from his guru in 1922. As soon as Srila Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj, before even he took a diksha from him, his Guru Maharaj said, "You are an English-speaking person, right? You speak English eloquently. Why don't you go to the English-speaking world, Western countries, and spread this Krishna consciousness?" So that was in his mind. He has conceived it for 45 years, around 43 years, and in 1965, he wants to execute his Guru Maharaj's instructions. Now, at the age of 70, 69 or 70, with just $7 or $8 in his hand, he boarded a cargo ship, right? And everybody, protested. Everybody, advised him not to do that. But he wants to execute the instruction of his Guru Maharaj. But he suffered 2 heart attacks in the cargo ship. But even then, he want to do this, mission. So he came to US, and then for many months, he was not able to do anything. But at some point in time, within the year, he sat down under the tree in a park during the summer and started doing karatal. He started, playing, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? As soon as he started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this transcendental vibration automatically attracted people. And at that time, there were a lot of hippies as well, who were in the park. They got attracted, and they got some attraction, but they don't know what it is. And then they started singing along with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada offered them the prasadam, full of prasadam. It is said, with just a tongue, one can get a liberation. Just eating only the prasadam and chanting the holy names, one can go back home, go back to Godhead, go back to Vaikuntha. So these 2 items, all these hippies and all those young generation did, but slowly they are converted. They understood this Mahamantra and its impact. It is jokingly called, all these hippies were turned into happies. But Prabhupada also explained, right? Previously there were Varnashrama Dharma, right? Everything was there, and the Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, and Shudra. But now there is nothing, there is no fine line, right? Prabhupada quotes Upanishad Vakyam, Kalau Shudra Shambhava, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In the Kali Yuga, there are only Shudras, right? All are laborers, right? Right? Most of us are, if you see, 19% of the people, just laborers, they work, right? But what is the solution? What is the solution? And Prabhupada also explained, the only solution is that, chanting the Harinam, chanting, we are not able to follow our Varnashrama Dharma, we are not able to follow our Kula Dharma, right? at least we have to follow the Yuga Dharma. In each and every Yuga, there is a Dharma. In the first Yuga, Satya Yuga, the Dharma is through yoga and meditation and austerity, one can achieve salvation. But in the second yuga, that is Treta Yuga, one can achieve the salvation by doing yajna, right? There were elaborate yajnas. But in the third yuga, Dwapara Yuga, one can attain salvation by archana. But in the Kali Yuga, fourth Yuga, one can get the salvation or attain mukti or go back to Vaikuntha by just chanting the holy name. So that is what happened, right? 50 years or 60 years back when Prabhupada came here, there were a lot of VPs, there were a lot of unrest, young population. But as soon as he introduced the chanting of Mahamantra, chanting of Harinam, and eating the prasadam, their mind is changed totally. That is a very visible difference. Um, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, right, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva Gatir Anyate. In this age of Kali, only Harinam, only Harinam is the path, is the way. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So that is the potency of chanting the holy name, to help us relieve all the anxiety and stress. So coming back to this, that's what Arjuna is saying, that due to the unwanted children, a lot of community projects and everything will be stopped. Here, Prabhupada explains the only way, we also have a lot of Varna Shankaras in this world now. That's the reason a lot of war and everything. It's very, not peaceful. But the only way is surrender to Krishna to alleviate all this problem. So these are the things that we read. So for destruction of the dynasty, and there are no family traditions, and adharma increases because there is no one to guide, and the children are spoiled, and there is no worship, and a lot of people are left out. So these are the points Arjuna is making. And anyone wants to read this sloka? You want to read? Okay, read.
उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासः भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा.
Read the translation.
Okay. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Right. This is another point where he says, if the family traditions are destroyed, because there are some family tradition based on our shastras and Vedas to help us atone our sinful reactions. We might have done unknowingly or knowingly a lot of sinful activities. But there are some processes, atonement process as part of the family tradition that will help us to avoid the hell. But with the destruction of all these family traditions, nobody will follow any atonement and they will go to hell. That is the point Arjuna is trying to make here. But he's saying there is no prayaschitta here. But in this Kali Yuga, the only atonement is chanting the Harinam, right? That removes all our sins. But the only thing is we have to keep chanting, as regular as possible and do devotional service. So this is what we read. Destruction of the family tradition stops, religion increases, women become polluted, and unwanted children, hellish life for those who destroy the family and family traditions because there is no guidance. The forefathers fall down, there is no pinda offering for them, and the community projects and everything which a community used to do, family used to do, are all destroyed. So there is no welfare activities. This is the 44th. Anybody wants to read after me? Yeah, I'll try. Thank you. Aho bata mahat papam
अहो बत महापापम्
कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं
Vyavashitavayam Karatum Vayashitavam
यद् राजसुकलोभेन
Yadra Yashupurlabhena
हन्तुं स्वजनम् उद्यताः.
Yadam Sava Udyatam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Can you read this translation, please?
Yes, alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit great sinful act, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
Yeah, he's saying how strange it is, right? We are trying to commit a great sinful acts. We are killing the men in the family elders, and the traditions will be stopped, and the women may be polluted, and there will be a lot of unwanted children. Community projects will be stopped. Family tradition, jati dharma, kula dharma, everything will be stopped. So, oh my God, how strange that we are trying to be a great sinful acts, and so driven by this desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are trying to kill our own kingsmen. That is what he's saying. How can I do that? you know so he's thinking like a devotee. He's soft hearted, right? He wants to avoid any abominable actions. He wants to avoid sinful actions, right? For example, that is what happened in this world in the current day, right? One country is invading another based on one person's interest. Say for example, Hitler. He did the same thing. He has a desire to enjoy royal happiness, royal kingdom. Based on his own interests, he killed his own countrymen, kith and kin. But what happened at last? He was killed. He shot himself, right? The Krishna says, follows me. Right? I am Kala, the destroyer of everything. Somebody says that I am the big. Today Elon Musk is saying, I'm big, compared to Trump. Hitler said, and a lot of people have been saying. But Krishna says, even Alexander said, and everybody said, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. But when the time comes, right, they're all nothing, right? But that's why Krishna says that we will read in the subsequent chapters, in the 10th chapter, Kalos me, I am Kala, the destroyer of everything. That's what Krishna says. So here, Arjuna is ready to be killed by his enemies, but he does not want to kill his family members. Okay. Better for Pradi, are you here? Are you here?
Yeah.
Can you read this and translation, please?
यदि मामप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धातराष्ट्ररणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Thank you.
Right. So this is very strange for a Kshatriya, right? For the Kshatriya, the Kshatriya principle says that if one is unarmed or unwilling to fight, you'll be left alone. Nobody should attack him. But he says, let the Kauravas attack me unarmed. If I'm unarmed or if I'm unwilling, he's ready to be killed by the Kauravas. It is very strange. It is due to the Acharyas explain, it is due to his soft-heartedness towards his kith and kin, right? He does not want to fight even in the awkward position of not having any arms or not willing to fight. So why he wants to be killed? The Acharyas explain, right? If he is not killed, right? If he does not have a kingdom, he has to beg. But Kshatriyas do not beg. There was a story, right? I think I might have mentioned this. Once Bhima was trying to get some very 1,000 petal flowers, lotus flowers for Draupadi. At the time he met Hanumanji, and after that he went on to a lake, and he was about to pluck 1,000 petal lotus. And then there were yakshas and rakshasas saying, warning him, hey, you cannot do that. This lake belongs to Kuvera, right? You cannot do that. And Bhishma shouted again, I am a Kshatriya. Our principle is not to beg, we will get it, right? That is a Kshatriya principle also, right? Kshatriyas can kidnap a girl and then marry. That is one of their dharmas. That's why, Krishna cleverly said to Arjuna, my brother, Balram is not interested in marrying, Subhadra to you. But as a Kshatriya, you can always kidnap her. You give some advice to him, and then Arjuna will kidnap Subhadra and then marry her. And in the same way, Krishna also did to Rukmini. So that's the reason he said, let them be killed. Let them kill me. I won't kill them. That is his position. Let us. This is the last shloka of this chapter. Anybody wants to read it? Okay. Cynthia, you want to read it?
Yeah. Sanjay uvacha eva muktvarjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishat visrijya sasharam chapam shokasam vignamanasah.
Translation, please.
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Thank you, Srinidhi. So this is a very unusual thing for Arjuna. He is afflicted with the lamentation that he sat down, keeping his bow and arrow aside, right? His mind overwhelmed with grief. This is very unusual for Arjuna. Is so kind-hearted and soft-hearted. Arjuna has a great respect for his Kandiva bow, because he took a vow that if anybody insults his Gandiva bow, he will kill them. It so happened during the 18 Days War, Karna insulted or defeated Yudhishthira and injured him, but he did not kill him. He said, you are not a Kshatriya. See, I'm not killing you. You just go away. And then Yudhishthira came back. But as soon as Arjuna understood Yudhishthira's position, he went to meet Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira thought that Arjuna killed Karna and then came here to share the good news. But Arjuna said, brother, I just came to meet you. Yudhishthira was very unhappy. He shouted at him, what kind of brother are you? Why do you have your Kandiva? You just put it down. And then suddenly Arjuna got angry. And he said, I took a vow that whoever insults my Kandiva, I'm going to kill them. So I'm going to kill you. And he took a sword. At the time, Krishna stopped Arjuna and saying that, hey, Arjuna, I can understand your position, but, you insult your brother, that itself like a killing. Then Arjuna will start insulting his brother. See, brother, during the gambling, you did gambling, right? And you lost all affairs, right? You did not even save Draupadi from all these insults. I could have single-handedly killed all the Kauravas at that time, but you stopped me. What kind of brother are you? And then he started insulting him. And then after insulted, Arjuna was happy. And then he bowed down and touched the feet of the Yudhishthira and said, I'm sorry. And then, that's how it went. So that is how he considered his Gandiva. But see, if you see here now, he put down his Gandiva, right? Due to overwhelming. The Acharyas explain, so he's soft-hearted and non-violent person, right? So that's why he's ready to receive the Bhagavad Gita. If one is very cruel and violent, they may not be able to appreciate Bhagavad Gita, they may not be able to understand, or they may not get an opportunity to read or listen to Bhagavad Gita. That is what Acharyas explain here. So we'll wrap it up. So Arjuna bases his arguments not on his own personal experience, but on what he has heard from these authorities, which is the way of receiving the real knowledge, right? All the points that Arjuna explains here, like a Pandita, like a Vedantist, right? Based on the Shastras, But Krishna will counter all these arguments one by one in the subsequent chapters. Right? One cannot reach the real point of factual knowledge without being helped by the right person, because it's always better to hear or listen, or it's better to question and understand, the knowledge. Because otherwise, if we do our own thing, it will be very difficult to understand, to get the knowledge. We should read the books from the acharyas, or we should get the knowledge from our gurus, or we should reach out to the people who are very well versed in the knowledge. So that is what is mentioned here. With that, we are wrapping up this chapter. Om Tat Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade
Arjuna
Vishada Yogo Nama Pratamo Dhyayah Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharam Vraja Aham Tva Sarvabhavebhyah Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for taking time to join this call every week, and thank you for taking time.
Can you inform next week we'll be having different timing, right?
Yeah, next week we are planning to have it in different time. I know today we have a very less audience. I believe it's because of the vacation time. Probably I'm thinking Thursday, 8 p.m. Will that work for you, Veena ji and Kaushal ji?
Yes, I'll
Yes,
make it happen.
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to have more people so that many people will get benefit out of it.
Yeah.
Because the gospel, or the real philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, starts from the second chapter when Krishna starts speaking. So far, Krishna is, as a good spiritual master, is listening to all the lamentation from his would-be disciple, and then he will explain to Arjuna in the later chapters. So thank you again for taking time. I really appreciate it. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much. All glories to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.